Right, so Thor 4 would have made sense for this movie to come out in April, but who knows? I don't do the scheduling for the MCU, they do, so, you know, we don't really have a choice. We can't really work with the pun, but, you know, would have been cool for people to schedule Thor 4 to come out on the 4th of the 4th, but, you know, scheduling and that, and, you know, but, yeah, Thor 4, new trailer. I did a video on the other trailer. I wasn't going to do a video on this one, but this one showed a lot, and also it's a day late. I was going to do it yesterday when I actually watched it, and it was fresh in my mind, but I didn't plan on making a video on this. I was hoping and praying that we got a release date for Jane Foster in Marvel's Avengers to coincide with this, because we got the reveal that Jane's the next character coming to the game with the previous trailer, and then so I was hoping we got a release date with this trailer to coincide, you know, a bit of brand synergy, but no, Crystal Dynamics is not that smart, and this group that they've got now, which apparently has like people from Treyarch in it, the people that did the SpongeBob Battle for Bikini Bottom game. Apparently they work there. People from Treyarch are in this developers group or whatever. I can't remember what the name of the company that bought Crystal is, and I know that's terrible because my main job is keeping up with Marvel's Avengers, and I should be able to know the group that's publishing that game now, but I don't. So ignore that. We're talking about Thor. We're talking about Thor trailer, and I'm excited for this movie. This is the movie that I've been the most excited for since they did that big lineup, because Thor Ragnarok was one of my favourite MCU movies. It was my favourite MCU movie when it came out. It's still the one that I have the most fun rewatching. That scene when Hela comes into the like Odin's throne room, and Thor's just sat there, just just banging down the stick. That is still like epic, and I haven't had a MCU movie since give me that same like tone, that same like feeling. And you know, Taika Waititi's doing this. Hopefully we get more of what was in Thor Ragnarok, because that movie was just the perfect Thor movie, and this is bringing more stuff that I like about Thor. It's bringing like recent things that are fresh in people's minds, like Gore the God Butcher. Christian Bale as Gore is great because he's a well-known actor, and he's a friggin' good actor, and you know that he's poured himself into Gore, and you need that. You need an actor or someone that really cares, not necessarily about the character, because Gore the God Butcher has appeared in like one story, and yeah, it's a really popular story, and yeah, it's one that a lot of people like, and a lot of people have wanted to be adapted to film, but like it isn't, Gore isn't like Thanos, or he's not like a big Thor villain. He's like this very minor character, but he's like Null. He made a really big impact when he came out, to the point where even people outside of the comic book landscape or the comic book readerdom, like I wasn't reading Thor when the God Butcher story was coming out, but I still am aware of who Gore is, and I think it's a really cool character. It's a really cool idea. It's a really cool design. I'm not sure how it would match up with the tone of the rest of the movie. But yeah, I don't understand, or I'm struggling to see like how Gore would fit with the tone of the rest of this movie, unless if we're being shown literally all of the jokes in the trailers, and then like the rest of the movie's gonna have this really serious tone. I don't know. Maybe it would prove as a cool juxtaposition, but then you've got this like scenario where yet again you have a villain that doesn't really fit in the movie that you're making, and you know there's this tonal shift, or like you're kind of turning a cool villain into something that's not, you know, that doesn't really work, or that isn't as cool as they really should have been, or not doing them justice. Or you've got this really good actor that's playing just a mediocre role. I hope that's not the case. Fingers crossed that's not the case. But I hope that it's good. I hope that Gore is done well, because he deserves it. You know, when they do these villains that are like very story dependent, when you're taking a character that is like, when you're adapting like one story and one thing, and it all has to kind of fit together. It doesn't necessarily have to be play for play or bit for bit what the comic book was directly doing, but in stuff like that you have something that's clearly based off a storyline that was in the comics, because the villain that you're using appeared in that one story and never again. So, you know, Gore the God Butcher was in that God Bomb Gore storyline and never appeared again. So I hope, and the fact that he's, you know, so well liked and so well received, kind of plays to the strength of that character. And, you know, even to an extent, like, it's the same extent as someone like Thanos. Thanos has been a reoccurring character, but the big thing that he did was what was represented in that movie, and they represented it really well, even to a point with the Winter Soldier, putting the Winter Soldier in the movie. I'm trying to think of other examples of, you know, using a very specific villain or a very specific character. I can only think of those two, but Gore the God Butcher is like up there. And like when you do a villain like that is like, so that people are so passionate about, you know, you have to get it right. You have to kind of make sure all the pieces are in play. The only other one I can kind of think of is something like the Wolverine, where it's not the villain that was the thing, but it is a movie that borrows heavily from a specific comic book. And I know that Thor: Love and Thunder isn't going to be a direct representation, because it's kind of melding two stories into one, and bringing in some other stuff. It's basically what Thor adjacent stuff hasn't been in a movie yet, and can we fit it in 2 hours? Can we fit it into 2 hours or just over? So we've got Zeus, we've got Gore, we've got Jane Foster, we've got more Valkyrie stuff, we've got Korg, again, who is a Hulk adjacent character, but he's being put in Thor movies, because why not? Because Taika Waititi, and of course. But yeah, I'm thinking Zeus appearing in this movie. Fingers crossed, hopefully we get Hercules. By the end of this movie, Hercules pops up. Maybe possibly an after credit scene. I don't know, but yeah, I'm hoping after credit scene we get Hercules, or Hercules shows up during the final battle, or they do a Doctor Strange 2 and Hercules has the same role as Rintrah in that movie, of which he does fuck all. He does absolutely nothing. He just stands in the back and looks slightly different to everyone else. So he's recognisable as the character, but doesn't actually impact the movie at all. Could have been anyone else. I will forever be like, they did not use Rintrah well enough. I've read one comic with Rintrah in. I'm not a big Rintrah fan or anything, but, you know, he could have done more than just stand around and do nothing, you know. Anyways, I will see you guys in the next video. Hopefully you enjoyed this one. Let me know in the comments below if you're as impatient as me about getting this Jane Foster release date, and let me know if you're looking forward to Thor: Love and Thunder. I know I am. I'm massively hyped, because the MCU has been flat. It's been like, you know, Black Widow, Shang-Chi, Eternals, Spider-Man No Way Home, then back down for you know, Multiverse of Madness, and then all of the shows have kind of been like, you know, and then Moon Knight was all the way down here, and, you know, Miss Marvel's coming out soon. I don't know if I'm gonna even watch it. You know, I've heard nothing about Miss Marvel. I've had absolutely nothing about it, so I don't know if people are hyped about it. You know, most of the MCU shows I haven't felt much for. Hawkeye was the one that I kind of got, because it's a street level character doing street level stuff, but then they completely butchered Wilson Fisk. The only way they could have made that worse is recasting him. The only way they could have made it worse is recasting him. Yes, you have the thing of, it's a comic book suit from the comics, but it makes it more like, hey, we're doing the things that you recognise, and it's becoming more fan service than making a compelling villain. And yes, you have all of that character development, but you turn someone who is actually frightening into a comic book villain. And, you know, the magic of those Netflix MCU shows was that you could take a non-comic book fan or a non-comic book reader. You could take someone that was a bit more, these movies are for children, and you could stick on Daredevil, and you could be like, see, this is why I like these things, and they would get it. Then you can't do that with something like Spider-Man Homecoming and stick it on and then be like, maybe these aren't for children. No, they would still think these are for children, but like Daredevil, Punisher, Luke Cage, Jessica Jones for the first season, you know, even to a lesser extent Iron Fist, maybe just show them season 2 of Iron Fist, because it's shorter and it gets to the point and it's genuinely good. But, you know, but yeah, Thor, I really like the third one. The first 2 are okay. I'm looking forward to Thor 4 because it's a director that I like, it's the tone that I like, and it's, you know, bringing back Natalie Portman, and every time you get to see Natalie Portman, it's always good. So yeah, hopefully you guys are looking forward to this movie. If you're feeling the same as me, where all of these MCU movies are just melding into one, and they all just kind of don't have the same spark or the same magic as they may be used to, or it feels like the MCU is treading water because they've got it now. They've got to the point. They're the biggest movie makers, they're the biggest money makers. Just slapping Marvel on anything can make you money, and maybe not if it's Eternals, but slapping the Marvel logo or the MCU logo on anything can basically print money, and you don't really need to put much effort into the product. If you feel that way about the MCU, if you feel that way about Marvel in general now, to be honest, like even the comics, like I'm gonna do a video about Spider-Man in the comics in a couple days, but yeah, I'm sour when it comes to the MCU after Moon Knight and Multiverse of Madness to a lesser extent, but Moon Knight especially. They don't have it anymore, and you know, hopefully Thor can change my mind. If there's any movie that can change my mind, it's Thor. You know, and the fact that Thor is the character that's got 4 movies, holy shit, that's unheard of. And the fact that it's Thor getting 4 movies and Spider-Man's only got 3, you know, we're living in a messed up timeline. We're living in a dream world. Anyways, I'll see you guys in the next movie. I'll see you guys in the next video. Not movie, video. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.